I haven't really thought too much of it, about who's in the clubhouse, who's not, young guys, things like that. Once you kind of get out here, you kind of get a feel for who's going to be in camp, what guys were invited into camp, the guys you're not really sure of, that are on the bubble, things like that. So I'm excited to get in today and get to know some of the new guys that we have gotten from minor league deals to major league deals. So excited to be around the young guys as well. Aiden Miller, Justin Crawford, Painter obviously, hopefully be a huge addition to us this year. We need him to be, and go from there.
Did you read the Castellanos letter the other day, and what did you make of it?
I didn't read it. Got a gist of kind of what it said. Obviously, Cassie's done great things for this organization in big postseason moments, and been a great guy for us to be around, and just didn't work out. Obviously, he's in San Diego now. We wish him the best of luck, and just go from there.
When you got home after last season and you kind of let the Dodger series kind of wash over you, I mean, what was your impression of the season that you had, and kind of how did you process the year that you had personally?
Yeah, I mean, obviously not the best year of my career, but still thought it was pretty good after missing 6 weeks or whatever it was. So definitely not the year that I wanted to have. Definitely not the year that the team wanted to have. Getting beat by the Dodgers obviously wasn't something we thought was really going to happen. It's a great team, and they were able to do that, and then to go on to win the World Series. So thought we were going to have a better chance of getting out of that first round and getting deeper in the playoffs, and just didn't happen. And obviously, goal coming into spring training like every year is to make it back and get into the postseason and make a deep run into the postseason, and just got to play our game and understand we're a good team. Just got to go do our thing.
I know you talked once since Dave made those comments in October, and then you wore that Not Elite T-shirt, taking BP one day. How much of a motivator is that to you, or has that been to you this off season?
Not really. I mean, I don't get motivated by that kind of stuff. For me, it was kind of wild, the whole situation of that happening. I think the big thing for me was, when we first met with this organization, it was, hey, we're always going to keep things in-house, and we expect you to do the same thing. And so, when that didn't happen, kind of took me for a run a little bit. So, I don't know. It's part of it, I guess. It's kind of a wild situation. That even happening. Obviously, I didn't have the year that I wanted. Obviously, I didn't have the postseason I wanted. My numbers weren't where they needed to be. I know that, and I don't need to be motivated to be great, in my career or anything else. So that's just not a motivating factor for me. For Dave to come out and say those things, it's kind of wild to me still.
Why did you wear the T-shirt then?
For the motivation?
Or the Not Elite T-shirt during BP that you posted on TikTok, was there any message behind that, or was that just what was it?
No, I mean, they made the shirts for me, and I wore them. So I mean, if they're going to make them, I'm going to wear them.
Did you have a chance to talk to Dave about what he meant by what he was saying, or why he did say it?
I just think that the conclusion is, obviously we keep things in house, and that's just how how it's always been. And in that moment, it just didn't happen, and I think my locker is always open for them to come and talk to me, and vice versa. So, it is what it is right now.
How much of not having the season that you wanted to have do you chalk up to physical, like the wrist and whatnot earlier in the year, and how much do you look at things like you swung at some more pitches out of the zone than you normally do last year, things that might be fixable?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that chasing pitches or chasing stuff out of the zone, not swinging at the missing pitches over the plate. I talk to you guys about it all the time. I take all those things, and obviously you try to work on those things and understand what you need to do in the off season and in spring training and things like that. So hopefully see a couple more pitches in the zone this year. I'm not really sure if that's going to happen, but hopefully it does, and I can be better.